For Honor finally had closed alpha.
Yep.
We've been hearing about this. People have been like searching for it a lot and asking about it a lot, but we finally got to play it.
Mm-hmm.
Did it line up with your expectations? What did you expect it to be, and did it line up with your expectations?
I feel like I was a little surprised by it. I've been wanting to play it, like you said. There's been interest, at least for me, to want to play it, and it kind of shocked me at first. It was a little bit, I guess, more defensive in a way than I thought it would be. I'm sure you can be offensive, but there's definitely more mechanics going on than I thought there would be.
Yeah.
Definitely with blocking left, blocking right, blocking high, and then kind of like countering, or like countering a grab or countering a guard break. So there's a lot of like, I don't want to just say it's rock, paper, scissors necessarily, but there's a lot of kind of that kind of going on, and I didn't necessarily expect that. And so I was kind of explaining or describing it when we were doing our live stream that it was kind of frustrating at first because all I want to do is kind of, go at them. But I hate bringing up Dark Souls, but it's like you kind of learn by playing the game, like, oh, I can't play this way. I better learn how to play the mechanics of the game and kind of master those. I haven't mastered those yet necessarily, but I could see how if you can make the right reads, and there's probably a pretty decent meta game going on, like that can be really fun. It's just, do you want to put the time in to kind of learn those like kind of subtle nuances, learn the move sets of the 4 classes for each faction and kind of how they flow, how they fight. So how like you can kind of see where they're gonna attack from, but it's not always necessarily the case. So it's like timing your parries and all that stuff. So I think that's pretty cool to me. It's just, I don't know if I'm gonna spend the time to kind of get really good at it unless like I play more in the office and then people start whooping me in the office, then I'll kind of get triggered.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think the people that take the time to master defending, and like, you see this thing pop up, it's like this trifecta. You can go block, right, left, up, and then different character classes. So there's like 3 races, and then each one has 2 variants of fighters. I was playing the samurai ones a lot, the heavy and the light, and after a while you start to see the stance that the other players are in. That's how you know whether, if they have like it raised over their head, you're like, okay, I'll attack the right or left. If the knight has it like kind of to his left, I'll just attack overhead. I feel like that plays into it, but I felt like I definitely played better when I was a little more patient, if possible. I did try button mashing, and you could tell the people that were button mashing were also kind of just ignoring how I think Ubisoft wants the game to be played.
Yeah.
So I think over time, I'm worried it might lose players that aren't really committed to like learning it, because it definitely has a very strong learning curve. I think I just assumed it'd be a third-person action game. When you're in the middle of these hordes of like minions and ads, it's like a Dynasty Warriors game. You're just plowing through them, right? Mm-hmm. But when you're actually fighting the heroes, the other players, that's when it becomes like what we thought For Honor would be. And then like speaking of Dominion mode right here with this, so there's 3 capture points, A, B, C. A and C are just normal capture points that you get for points to like add up to, I think, 1,000, and then you get the chance to kill the other heroes and win. But the B is like this tiered zone where you help your creeps push forward into the enemy territory. You take it, and then anytime you want to capture, you have to actually have your creeps advance. So that's where like almost MOBA-esque.
Yeah, and I mean, the other interesting thing too is in these 4v4 skirmishes, it's also how good are you kind of communicating with your teammates, because you might 2v1 someone. Sure. And it's actually really tough, at least when we were playing, or because I've only played a couple hours, but to really stave off 2 people at one time. Mm-hmm. You can kind of generally direct or block in one direction, and that sometimes will get them both. But if they kind of pinch you, it's pretty hard to kind of defend both points. So you kind of got to, maneuver around your territories. Also, maybe just run for help sometimes. You got to watch your stamina, obviously. So that plays another factor, I think. It's like, 3-on-1, I'm screwed.
Yeah. No, it's definitely about placement as much as anything, like more than just the fighting, because flanking is a huge deal. If you don't even see someone coming up behind you, they just do like an overhead, like heavy attack, and you're done. I don't know. Like the more I played it, the more impatient I got. But maybe that's just because I wasn't giving it the chance to actually kind of teach me. Because there was a tutorial at the beginning, but there's a lot of things that like I didn't really completely grasp. Like there's a guard break, which of course works if they're guarding, but if they're not guarding, it doesn't do anything. Yet it kind of leaves you like there's not much you could do against it if they use it. So
there's a counter to the counter break.
How do you counter that? Actually,
it's like you hit X.
Oh, really?
I think it's like X or A. I forgot which forget which tutorial I'm watching, PS4 or Xbox One, but there is a way, if you can see that they're going to do the guard break because the little shield icon thing kind of pops up, you can kind of quickly hit that button and stop it. But it's like a reflex thing. It's like,
Sure, and then there's also like baiting people, kind of like going to your left stance so they think you're going to attack on the left and then just switching to the right really quick and attacking there. It's almost kind of like the threat of what you're about to do can be more dangerous than what you actually do. Obviously, the threat isn't what's going to throw an axe into your head, but you get what I mean in the essence that it's a mind game after a while. Mm-hmm. Like you said, I don't like when you get outnumbered, but I think that's the point. They don't like that's like the ganking, I guess.
Well, there's that revenge mechanic too, which is supposed to kind of help you deal with two people. I saw people employ it well and kind of kill two people at the same time. If you're not using it properly or don't really understand how to use it properly, you could also just easily die. So I'm actually interested. I didn't get enough time to watch other streamers, but I want to see what really good players look like and what that kind of gameplay looks like, and then see if I'm kind of motivated by that and like, oh wow, okay, there's all the mechanics coming to life the way that they see it, and I could maybe play like that too. But when you're kind of going in, even though there are really good tutorials, just kind of hard to see some of that stuff because of who you're fighting and whatnot.
Yeah, definitely. And it feels like it's almost odd that. I don't want to, not disparaging Ubisoft. I like a lot of their games, but it seems like, like when you think Ubisoft, you think Assassin's Creed, and you think of like Tom Clancy games, and you think of things that are going to be safe somewhat. But then you have like Rainbow Six Siege that came out, which is just like very tactical, like high skill ceiling multiplayer. Now you have For Honor that's coming out that's kind of the same thing. It's like player versus player focused, very high, like, easy to learn, difficult to master kind of thing. And I don't know that it's not like a trend coming out of the entire publisher, but it's still... now that we know more what it's like, it's intrigued me, but I just don't know that I can really mount that skill ceiling and kind of like get over the first few hurdles to actually really enjoy the game and like it for what it is. We've only played a brief amount of it. Of course, it released in February.
Yeah, I mean, sorry to cut you off there, but I'm also kind of curious about what that campaign looks like. We saw kind of a brief little snippet at E3. Is it kind of one of those that's shorter but gives you like a kind of like a story kind of thing for the factions, or is it kind of more in depth? We don't know yet, obviously. So I'm interested in that. Maybe the campaign kind of spurs you on to play multiplayer. Hard to say.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it released in February, I believe.
Yes,
yeah.
I think so.
Because it got pushed back. It was originally earlier, but I guess every game was pushed back now.
But you know what? You could play Bushido Blade right now.
Is that a comparison you've been making?
Yeah. Bushido Blade 1 and 2 PlayStation fighting games where it was like one-on-one sword duels, and there was no health bar. Mm-hmm. If someone's sword hit your arm, you lost your arm. You just had that one other arm to fight with. If someone cut your leg, you died. And it was this great dueling thing because it just captured the reality of like what these impacts could do, and it would just restart a fight like that. So you could like have these sort of like rapid like duels like that really do like teach you like you got to learn what you're doing or you're gonna die. Captures a lot of what I think this is going for, but without all the clutter of modern gaming demands that things must have if it comes from Ubisoft. It has to be this big, like Bushido Blade is a pure dueling game, and that's out. You can play that right now.
Yeah, because you could just do one-on-one in For Honor. You could do 2v2. Then Dominion mode's the one with the creeps and everything. I think that's one I had the most fun with, only because I wasn't completely married to the mechanics of the game. Even though I think the mechanics do feel good, I just don't think I gave it the chance, I gave myself the chance to really like learn and respect it, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. So now I'm intrigued by the game for sure. That releases in February of 2017 on PS4, Xbox One, PC. And check it out in the future. We'll have more coverage on GameSpot.